All right. Good evening and welcome to Football in Vivo on Club Deportes, show number 17. We air every Monday at 10 p.m. on clubdeportes.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Futbol Austin, Futbol Austin. Follow Club Deportes at Club Deportes. For all the latest and greatest sports news and commentary, you want to make sure you visit clubdeportes.com. David Alvarez visits the website at least 30 times a day. I am your host, Eric McCoy, and I am joined by a man who still has hope that Chile will qualify for the 2022 World Cup. It is David Alvarez. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you very much, Eric, and your words are really... I have hope right now that we can qualify to Qatar.
Hey, qualification via technicality, that is the best qualification of all, isn't it? That is the sweetest.
But besides, Chile deserves to be in the World Cup. We have good players.
Depends on how you define deserve. I think that's the key.
We deserve. We just never had a coach. We never had a real coach. We had the players. We have what it requires. But also, we need to have the karma because this situation. What happened is now, Chile denounced that an Ecuadorian player was actually from Colombia.
And if he could score goals, Colombia really could have used him. Let me tell you. He was a defender. But if he's got some headers on set pieces.
But not only that, but he played great for it's a key piece of the Ecuadorian team that qualified for the World Cup. So something very similar happened last World Cup qualifications with Paraguay. So this is not the first time. And that really benefit Chile and Peru, but it benefit more Peru than Chile because if real thing would have happened, Chile would have qualified. But Peru qualified because the same situation happened with another player from another country.
Bolivia had a situation.
Bolivia. It was Bolivia.
Bolivia had a forfeit.
It was the Bolivia, and they have a Paraguayan player in Bolivia. So that was a similar, pretty much the same issue. But here, things are really bad because this player is like, not only is older than he says he is.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with this situation. But I don't want to lose viewers by talking Chile, David. People are clicking away from the show. So let's talk about what everyone cares about here. And that is Austin FC, David. All good things must come to an end, including Austin FC's 4-match MLS winning streak as Austin FC fell Sunday night 1-0 to the LA Galaxy at Q2 Stadium. Jerry's queuing up the highlights or the lowlights, depending on your perspective. David, what were your thoughts on this match? You were at Q2 Stadium. What were your thoughts on the match?
Yes, it was a great atmosphere. I have to say that, again, the only thing I missed, I heard at the beginning, we have the starting lineup was what everybody predicted.
Were you surprised to see Gallagher over Kolmanic at left back? That was,
I am. But because we could talk about that last week, and we definitely make that preference to have Kolmanic from the beginning, not. And honestly,
So you think Kolmanic is clearly better as a left back than Gallagher?
Clearly, it's no doubt about it.
So I think it's pretty clear. I think Gallagher has been playing very well at left back, and I don't know if it's clear that that he is. Not as good as Kolmanic.
Right.
But, yeah.
But definitely that. We expected that. It's a great, a sold out again at Q2 Stadium. Couldn't be better. We went with students from the school that I teach. So that was great to have all the varsity and the JVB teams watching the game and expecting, obviously, a win. And it was very disappointed, especially the second half. And, it became like really a boring game. Some stages of the game.
Yeah, were you disappointed in this match as a spectacle? I mean, this was number 2. Austin FC went into this match. Here we go. Jerry's got the highlights. There's Diego Fagundes. New haircut right there.
New color.
What do you think about that? The new with the green. Do you like that, David? Are you thinking about doing something similar? What are your thoughts on that?
It doesn't matter. As long as he's not substituted when he
as long as he's not substituted.
I don't care what
would have been disappointed in this match then.
Yeah, but there you see, I mean, I don't know. Chicharito sometimes is I would think oh my God, this was the worst error I ever seen in my life.
And so you were talking before we started, before we went on air here, that you never want to do that. You never want to clear the ball back towards the center of the pitch like Finley did. That led to this Galaxy goal here.
No, because he got this ball, like they give it to him, and he gave it back to the middle. 2 touches. He just touched it. Like, he gave it 2 touches. It was such an easy, the best pass. The best assistance of the day was that. And he put so much power on that. I thought it really, you see, the perfect bounce. You want the ball to bounce, so the goalie, even if he gets there, he's going to get off. So it was really hard to get that ball, even for Stuver.
So you don't think that Stuver would have
No. I didn't think Stuver would. And nothing, like, what you need is, look, he did pretty good for everything else. I mean, it's like as solid as Stuver, so I don't think the problem was there at all.
No, not necessarily. I mean, this was kind of a theme, particularly of the first half. Austin FC really struggled to play through the Galaxy press. Yeah. They really struggled to advance the ball against this LA team. Why do you think that was? Why did you think Austin FC struggled so much to progress the ball through the center of the pitch?
Well, I think there was like oh my God, how are you going to miss
this
that?
Was a theme here. Austin FC turning the ball over the Galaxy,
but they
getting
were,
chances on the break.
Afraid of the. I mean, they were never playing this type of players. We're playing Chicharito. You're playing Douglas Costa. You're playing a solid team, like it's a famous team. And the LA Galaxy is like it's a well-renowned team. Everybody knows. Nobody knows Austin. Everybody knows Chicharito missing that. That's the worst thing. I mean, Chicharito, I think, was overweight as well as Douglas Costa.
You were a little critical
Alvarez.
Of the fitness regimes of some of the Galaxy players.
Yes, I'm definitely worried about their fitness, except for like number 9 here. Awesome, I think was one of the best players. Got the name of number 9. He's very young. He's really good. He was everywhere.
Yeah, I believe that's Cabral.
Cabral. Exactly, Cabral. He's right there, putting some pressure there, and I think he was. Everybody else was pretty fast, like him especially. They were everywhere, but the rest, some of the forwards, do you see? I mean, honestly, Chicharito was overweight. I mean, he is. And Douglas Costa, too, he fell down. He was at the floor for 2 minutes.
Douglas Costa has been a disappointment thus far for the Galaxy. He only has 1 goal, and big things are expected of him on this team, Douglas Costa. And he is not delivered.
No, and he played kind of injured for a little bit during. He wasn't on the floor. I took a picture of him. He was like on the floor for a minute.
You're taking pictures of injured players?
I was like, what, dude? You're in the floor for 1 minute. It was just the same amount of time that LA Galaxy wasted on free kicks.
Well, speaking of free kicks, this right here was just, so
87 minutes, everybody was.
Sebastian
we had the hope. We had the hope at this time. We did not lose the hope that we can score. And we didn't.
I was in the press box, and I thought that was going in. I kind of jumped out of my seat
from
a little bit
side,
after
and it was beautiful. Oh, my God. It was even better than from this side. And I only saw it live. I didn't see the replay, honestly. But it was gorgeous.
And again, as
that
we
was
saw,
awful. That was awful. That should have scored. That was the easiest goal. From where I was, LA Galaxy should have had 2 more goals.
They let Austin FC off the hook a bit in this one with some of their counterattacks.
The last one and the Chicharito, and those should have been a 3-1, honestly. I don't know what happened, but those guys need to do more exercise or something. And they didn't hit the ball with power.
If you're watching Greg Vanny, David Alvarez has a fitness regime lined up for your team.
No, but so the shot we thought one shot they took we saw it in the first half. It was weak. It was weak, and I told you need to get 1 bounce, not 2 bounce. If you did 2 bounce, you mean you're gonna lose power in the second bounce. That's what they did. So I think they need to. I think also I have to say, looking at the game, some of the feelings I had, we need a powerful forward. We need some forward that can just overtake the defense and don't be afraid of it. But we have very small forwards.
Did Austin FC kind of get out-muscled in this match to a degree by the Galaxy?
Yeah. That's what happened with I was thinking about San Antonio. We need to go hire some guys in San Antonio. One of those players, because that's what we need. We need a little more power and physicality. We don't have it.
Kind of dare I say, like a Didier Drogba type center forward. A strong, muscular, aerial presence.
Lukaku. But any of the guys from San Antonio, we played last time. I mean, those guys that's what we need. There's 3 or 4 forwards San Antonio had. They're all over 6 feet.
So I want to ask you, David, speaking of forwards, Maxi Urruti, this is the second straight match where he has failed to score. And in both of these matches, against Houston and against the Galaxy, he was subbed off prior to the 70th minute. Are you concerned that perhaps he's kind of coming back down to earth after that strong run of goal-scoring form that he had?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. That's one thing, one way to see it. Another way to see it is like, I felt the team was, I don't know, they were out of place because if he is the main guy in your team, why you're not looking for him? They were not looking to pass the ball to him.
So you think it's not necessarily all on Urruti, but the service to
yeah,
Urruti?
He had the ball. He would get from the back, go into the middle, pass the ball back, and then I expect, because he's the main player, I said, this guy going to turn around to sit and give back the ball back to him because he's the creator. He's the one that scores. He does everything. So I would just be playing for him. And it seems like that's what we were missing. There was no connection with Rusi. I think that was the big problem. I saw all of it. It's like, and it seemed the other thing I think maybe they were a little bit afraid of being with such a big players next to them. I think there was like I don't know.
So you think, because that was, Jorge Iturralde actually asked Ruben Gabrielson, like, did the Austin FC show the LA Galaxy too much respect?
Yeah.
And he was kind of like, no, we should not be showing anyone too much respect. We're Austin FC. Defend our...
He feels that they showed too much respect, especially. I mean, in the second half, that was embarrassing. Because not embarrassing, that was the going back to deja vu all days, Bad substitution when you don't need to do that. I mean, you have Holsten missed that goal. That Driussi pass was excellent, and Holsten, you cannot miss that kind of easy goal. I said, you do that on Sundays.
So are you critical of the substitutions, or are you just critical of the lack of options that Wolf has to go to for substitutions?
All of the above, of course.
I mean, like, okay, so if we look at the subs, the 68th minute, we saw Rodney Redis come on for Ethan Finley, and Kolmanic came on for Urruti. That basically meant that Gallagher pushed up into kind of like a left winger position from left back, and so you had like Fagundes and Driussi as your two in the middle, and then you had Gallagher and Redis out on the wings. Mm-hmm. And so how do you feel about that sub? Was that okay, or?
Honestly, I mean, all the subs. When the subs came up, I was like, oh my God, what's going on?
And then we saw Danny Hosen and Hector Jimenez in the 79th minute.
Yeah.
And
that's what we needed, right?
And then Felipe Martins eventually came on for John Gallagher in the 85th minute. So is it the names there you don't like, or who else should have come on if not these players?
I mean, these players should have. If you're gonna bring somebody in any time, you need to do way better than this guy did. I mean, this guy they're not shown they can do. I mean, you can say Holsten did good last time when he scored those goals and he had another chance. And he never scored before that, and I don't think he ever will again. But
see, I actually think his movement is good. Like he looks like he really fits the system well.
He does.
But I don't know if the quality is really there.
Really, that goal that he missed is just technical abilities. Like that's something that you practice. You practice that, and when you are a professional, that should be natural, and that you wouldn't think about it. And he missed it. I was like, okay, maybe the goalie got a little touch of it. But anyways, it just showed that lack of technique.
Yeah, I think in general, so this was Austin FC that they come into the match and then they end the match second in the Western
Conference. And Redis
too,
I'm sorry, but Redis too also show because when he played,
Is he ever going to be a successful player for Austin FC?
Never. He would never ever, he has not shown anything. Every time he had a chance to play, this time he touched the ball, how many? 5 times, he lost it 3 times, 3 out of 5. He touched the ball 1, okay, but every time we lost possession when he was around the ball.
And here's the thing, we often, and others have often talked about the lack of production from designated players that aren't named Sebastian Driussi on this Austin FC team. Mm-hmm. But the U22 initiative players, and that's Rodney Redis and that's Moussa Djite, those are big players as well. If you look at other teams' U22 initiative players, like Campana for Inter Miami, you expect production from those guys. And Austin FC are getting nothing.
Campana is doing...
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. And Austin FC are getting nothing from their U22 initiative players. And to me, that is as big, if not a bigger problem than the lack of production from the DPs.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But we have, and I think we need to think about, we don't have many options. Like, with those guys did not make any changes when we needed. And who else is there? But I think the error also came. Why are you going to take Fagundes out? Why you don't take Alex?
Do you think Fagundes, is it just too many minutes? Does he need a break? To me, it was a fairly quiet match from him.
Very quiet.
And I worry about the amount of minutes that he's had to log this season.
but then you don't take him. But I think Alex. Ring really is probably one of the main problems that we have.
It's been a problem, right? Yeah, I just don't think he is a DP level attacking midfielder.
No way.
I keep hoping because he keeps getting into these dangerous positions that eventually it'll come good. But I think he's getting into these dangerous positions because teams are not really worried about him because they don't really fear what he's going to do in the final third. And so he's getting on the ball in those spaces because they're trying to block off service to Arudi, service to Driussi. And so he's getting on the ball in those spaces. And then, he just doesn't know what to do in those positions. One interesting thing, and I think this match is a good indication of it, I follow Matt Doyle on MLSsoccer.com. I usually read his column. And one of the things he likes to bring up about Austin FC is that Austin FC lack wide players that can beat defenders off the dribble. Like you don't have wide attackers that can beat defenders 1v1. Do you agree that is an issue?
Definitely, and that's what we need. I mean, Haaland is or Lukaku type of player.
I don't think Erling Haaland is coming to Austin FC. I hate to break it to you. Don't think he's coming.
But we have there's players like that. As I say earlier in San Antonio and in the ML. I mean, we need somebody.
And really, I think because we've seen this stuff. Like the way the Galaxy played, we've seen teams like San Jose, Portland, DC for at least the first 80 minutes of that match where they clog the middle. And then Austin FC, when they try to go out wide, they don't have the playmakers that can beat those defenders 1v1.
No, exactly. And that's what comes to mind. Gallagher, when he had the ball, he had the chance to do that, to make the break. And since he had been playing as a forward before, I thought it was going to be natural. But now he decided to play back, give the pass. I was like, golly, I even forgot that he was a forward. Like he was getting used to being a defender now. I'm passing the ball
did you not care for his cameo as an attacker in the second half? That's actually, so the press conference, I actually asked Josh Wolf about that. I said, because Austin FC, there is kind of a lack, and we can talk about Cecilio, but there is a lack of options for Austin FC right now in the wide areas.
But that's exactly what happened. He did not he did the initiative when he was playing forward. He did not take it.
I thought he was lively. I thought he at least got in behind the Galaxy defense in a way that prior to him moving up, Austin FC just weren't doing. I mean, Finley, to an extent, was, but he was wasteful when he did get on the ball in those
off the game. He was, since he made that error, Finley, he was off. Yeah. He was totally off the entire.
And the thing is, in the first half, you could see they were trying to hit those diagonals to Finley because you had the Galaxy left back Edwards. He really likes to get forward, and he was going forward a ton. And so they were trying to attack that space in behind him. They were trying to hit those diagonals. Most of the time, they were finding Finley on those diagonals. But the few times they did connect, Finley was wasteful. He hit it out of bounds, hit the cross. So it was not Ethan Finley.
Yeah, those crosses were. Oh my God, what kind of? I think he was not even going fast enough. I think I'm also questioning he could have gone run a little bit faster. I don't know. Yesterday it was weird to see that none of those teams were that really fast. That's I'm afraid.
Were you disappointed? Yeah, I was kind of alluding to this earlier. I mean, this was Austin FC second in the West, Galaxy fourth in the West coming into the match. I think they're third now. Were you disappointed in this match as a spectacle? Like I was looking forward to this all week. This is going to be Sunday night match of the week, national TV. And it just was not that fun to watch. I put a lot of that down to how the Galaxy played. They were pretty negative.
But that was the kids would say. I mean, that really was not very fun to watch.
It was really choppy match.
But for our point of view, it's a little bit biased because we're here all the time. But you can see it in the stands too. There was we were standing right next to the LA Galaxy fans. And you feel people want to answer back, but then you didn't have anything because the first 10 minutes, the La Verde or La Murga, everybody was silent. I don't know what happened. Why?
Well, there was a 10-minute protest. They were silent in the 10th minute for 10 minutes for Cecilio Domínguez. Both the Los Verdes and Austin Anthem released statements that they do not want to see Cecilio play for Austin FC again due to the domestic violence.
They don't want to.
They don't want to see him play, and so.
Oh, that was
in protest to that. So that
interesting.
That is why.
So we're gonna have politics and soccer.
Yeah, you can't separate them, David. Soccer and politics, they're gonna commingle.
Political.
And it was discussed in the press conference. And Josh Wolf, he seems to suggest that, as of now, anyways, that Cecilio, I think he's expected to return to training this week. He was just missed 5 weeks or so he's going to take some time to get back up to fitness. But it does appear that the plan is for him to, reintegrate into the team. Do you feel like he should rejoin this Austin FC team based on everything? I mean, ultimately, charges were dropped, but you had the issue in 2016 where there were some pretty serious charges brought against him in Paraguay that were ultimately dropped. But those accusations were very serious, and now we see, again, not violence on this occasion, but verbal abuse being directed at his, I believe it's his ex-girlfriend. And I mean, just for me personally, I don't feel comfortable cheering for a guy with this kind of on his track record. Okay, it's an uncomfortable situation.
So you would be with La Verde, the anthem, and all the.
It's a complicated situation because MLS has cleared him to play. Austin FC has cleared him to play. There's no charges being pressed against him. So legally, I don't know what Austin FC can really do other than try and move him on in the transfer market. But for me personally, it's just a difficult thing to want to support him. And I think for a lot of supporters feel that way. And it's a divisive subject right now. So do you want to see him play for Austin FC again? Take a drink of water, David. It's a serious topic right here.
Serious issue about that, and I'm with you, and I'm with La Verde. And the protests did have an effect that we kind of needed that at the beginning. Like the people.
Well, that's the thing. You run the risk too. If you're dividing the fan base, you run the risk of really hurting what has made this team so special. The culture, the supporters' culture.
I would have support to do it in a different time during the game. Maybe
it was the 10th minute for Cecilio jersey number. I think that's what was why it was the 10th minute.
I don't know, because that has sort of an impact, on the players too. Not only, so it's something that you need to talk, but. To think about it, but and my form of view,
there's the
in domestic violence, and I saw a big save also. So that was really, really nice. And I think we need to be aware of that. And I think this political situation in the United States with the Supreme Court decision coming up on Roe versus Wade. So it's a lot of things going on. So I definitely understand the point of view. But I'm going to say that you have to be careful with what things you do. But at the same time, because this was done, I think the supporters will have much more of a say on what is done.
Well, that's good. I think this team, for the most part, especially last season, was bad. What brought people to the stadium was the culture, was that supporters' culture. And if supporters don't want this guy on the team has to listen to that, and they have to act accordingly.
And if I am like a devil's advocate, I would say
you are nothing but a devil's advocate.
If I would say devil's advocate, we need him right now. The team needs Cecilio.
Well, they need.
We need somebody that can bring that a little bit more power on the up front, like just that he even going down on the floor at least trying to look for a foul. He's gonna do that, but we don't have. We show and all the substitution that we had, and we don't have the depth. So anything we get now, I would take it.
Well, to me, that's why I think the best thing is Austin FC to make a move to move him on in the transfer market and then bring in someone new.
Yeah, we can make it a moral problem, right? It could be a moral problem for the team, he shouldn't be playing at all. But at the same time, if it's not banned, it is. It's
a difficult situation. I don't know how.
If nothing to do with that,
he's not banned. He's not being charged.
And also, it's something that has to do with his own life, personal life, that we should not be part of what is done in the field. Well, if he reached the level of being going to court for that, well, that's a different situation. But in this case, it's still not charged. So I don't think I think he should be. If he needs to be back. He needs to be back. We need somebody like that right now, and then get rid of him as soon as we can. I think that would be the solution. I'm just talking about a good future here, but it's a difficult situation. But
let's not forget, David. Austin FC did just go on a 4-match winning streak without Cecilio Domínguez. So he's not, maybe not.
And you know how I think? I always say that Cecilio, we don't need Cecilio. We don't need
You always have said that. So, I mean,
I'm not going to change my mind.
Now is not the time to change your mind on that.
I'm very happy.
Now is not the time for that.
I'm very happy that Cecilio and Mr. Pochettino are no longer in the team. I mean, for me, it's those were a waste of money and resources that we're just getting back from it. So that's I always thought about that.
Well, let's go ahead and look ahead, David. Let's look ahead to Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Austin FC will be visiting Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake on 16 points, 5th place in the Western Conference standings in MLS. They're coming off a 2-0 loss away to Nashville on Sunday. They tend to skew a bit more defensive. They are in the lower end of the MLS standings in regards to possession per match. They've been playing in a 4-4-2 formation of late. They do have former U.S. men's national team striker Bobby Wood. He's one of the two up top in their
Bobby Wood.
Bobby Wood. Man. Remember Bobby Wood, David?
Yeah.
All right, player.
He scored against Chile, I believe, one game.
I believe he scored against Austin FC last season too. Actually, now, if memory serves correctly. So they're an okay team. Nothing too spectacular. How do you see this one playing out for Austin FC?
I think it's going to be tough that game because Salt Lake is only 4 points behind Austin FC. So
they're off to a pretty okay start. There's the standings there.
Yeah, so they're really close.
I think they did suffer I believe a 6-0 defeat to NYCFC, so they do have that on their record.
Yeah, you can say that, but I mean, all those games, as Manolito said the other day, they're gonna be rough. They're gonna be very rough.
Are you agreeing with Miguelito, your arch nemesis, or are you
no,
here to? Are you here agreeing with him right now?
I agree. I mean, he was gonna. Yeah. Let's see what's happening in the next 3 games. You know.
Yeah, he.
And I saw him at the game. He was not wearing a verde, man. I was like, "What, Manolito? You're not wearing a verde." He's a bit of a
hater, isn't he? Miguelito is a bit of a hater. I think it's fair to say.
What? Okay, but anyways, he might be right about these next 3 games. They're going to be tough. I mean, definitely. Manolito's right.
Well, I'm not hearing a prediction, David. What do you think is going to happen?
I'm a chicken, man. I think it's going to be a tie. It's going to be 1-1.
Chicken of indecisiveness goes to you, David.
Chicken is mine again. I heard the green chicken is really popular.
Very popular, yeah. There is green chicken, extremely popular.
That's but we need to just dye this one.
We might have to. Okay. We might have to make a trip to the arts and crafts store.
Okay, the chicken of indecisiveness. Yeah, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw because I mean, since this is like a more equal team.
Do you feel like this is kind of Austin FC's level? Like LA Galaxy, I think it's fair to say probably a bit ahead of where Austin FC are right now, but do you think RSL, this will be a match against a team that is Austin FC's equal?
And something that you can notice too in LA, the coach was always there. The coach was so into the game.
He's a good coach. Greg Vanney he was very good at Toronto, and he seems to be taking the Galaxy in the right direction. I mean, right after the Real Salt Lake, LAFC, Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. That is that'll be a fun one.
I mean, it's going to be hot, for sure. It's already hot here, but the one with Orlando is going to be the classic. I think that should be the classic.
For old school Austin soccer supporters, that's a big deal.
Yeah, for the Austin Aztec first version, you know. That's the classic. We need to get those guys. Because they did make fun of us. They were very rude in the early media days.
Orlando City was
the Orlando City when Jazz moved from Austin. That was really sad. But anyways, I think with the future it is interesting.
Yeah, these next few matches are going to be very, very intriguing.
It's all about. Sure. I think we just need Wolf and the team and the coaches, all of them. I think they need to really think about it. To get experience from what happened. The game with San Antonio and the game with LA, they definitely we need a stronger, more physicality. If you want to play with the top, we need more power, and have the right combinations. Like we don't have what we take right now. We're playing with with what we could have. right? But what we have, we need to make something because we don't have more than 12 players.
Yeah, I think we went into the season really excited about the depth of this team has.
The bench is so weak. We have one of the weakest bench, and that's never a good
depth
sign
is an issue. Midfield is okay depth wise. I think Felipe Martins.
But then
Johan Valencia is a little underwhelming.
Do you think Alex Ring is something?
The start? No, I think I want to see Alex Ring move back to the position he's played his whole career. That's a defensive midfield position.
That's the logic, It's nothing. There's no secret about that.
But the thing is, if he goes back to that position, then who plays the box-to-box midfield role? Is Danny Pereira? Is he good enough to be in that role?
I think so. I think Danny Pereira. I think he pretty much was playing in that role yesterday.
He was getting forward.
When he got 3 or 4 chances, he controlled. It was. He was doing more than anybody else, pretty much, because he.
I thought he would get dispossessed a few times, though. Just that the issue. The Galaxy press, and I mentioned earlier, the teams that high press Austin FC, they tend to struggle against that, and they don't build from the back well against teams that clog the center of the pitch against them. But okay, I think we should go ahead and move on and talk a little Champions League. David, do you have any final thoughts on Austin FC before we move on to Champions League? Okay, let's go ahead and talk. Let's start with the UEFA Champions League. Is that what?
Yeah,
or you want to start, David?
Yeah.
Let's start with that. So, big match this past Tuesday, Villarreal against Liverpool. We were very critical on this show of Villarreal's performance in the first leg against Liverpool. They were very impressive. It's like they listened to our show, became enraged, and then just went out there in that first half, went up 2-0, even the tie, but then Liverpool scored 3 in the second half to advance. But do you feel as though Villarreal redeemed themselves with their performance in the second leg?
Well, what they did, but that's, again, history they've been building for not long ago, right? But they did had a great, every time they play at their stadium,
that's an impressive stadium there, isn't it?
They do not. So, and Liverpool never won there. So history.
They probably played there that much. I don't know.
No, not much. But the time they played, they never. They never won. So nobody beat them at that stadium. So how important some stadiums could be, and Villarreal, of course, they had those supporters are really. You saw them in England, right? You saw them how strong, and they knew all the songs, all the support. They're great. It's a great ambiance, just like Real Betis, but.
Always. There's your Real Betis update. Lost on a late Jordi Alba goal to Barcelona. That broke my heart, It broke my heart. But speaking of Liverpool, to look at it from their side of things, Luis Diaz, he was subbed on to start the second half, scored in the 67th minute, and I think was a huge part of them turning this match around.
Luis Diaz?
Luis Diaz. And to me, if you actually look at it, Mo Salah has not been in the best of form as of late. And Roberto Firmino has kind of fallen off. Diego Jota, I think, has struggled a bit. Mane's been sensational. And Luis Diaz, would you say, bless you, David, would you say he is Liverpool's second best attacker at the moment?
You can put it in the top. Definitely. It's up there. Since he
Better than Mane.
Well, I wouldn't even compare because they kind of understand each other very well. And I think
it's a collective. Liverpool always attack as a collective.
When Diaz came in, Diogo Jota, Mane, everybody in the team, it seems like it's much. When he came in,
I like what they're doing now with Diaz on the left and Mane playing through the middle. I think that just gives them such a dangerous look. Then Salah out on the right. I just love the way that front three looks.
A lefty playing on the right.
Yeah, exactly. I think
and the righty playing in the middle. Yeah, it is pretty good. And he's so solid.
And you have Thiago in the midfield, and I actually think Thiago is doing a lot of the kind of just the setup work that we used to see Firmino do. Now that facilitating is going through Thiago, so you don't necessarily need it from the center forward. So you can just put a pure goal scorer like Sadio Mane through the middle, and they look very, very dangerous in attack right now.
But Luis Diaz, when he came in, he changed the history for Liverpool.
Changed the game.
Because now Liverpool is everywhere in all the finals, right? But I don't know if they're going to have the Premier, though.
Okay, well, we'll get to the Premier League shortly.
But the champions...
Big results there.
The Champions is going to be great.
Let's stick with the Champions League. The other, I mean, one of the most shocking finishes to a match that I have ever seen. Real Madrid with 2 late goals to force extra time, where they ultimately would go on to defeat Manchester City 6-5 on the aggregate, 3-1 on the night. There's Benzema right there. I mean,
Benzema again did it again. Oops, he did it again.
You want to sing a little Britney Spears for our viewers, David?
Because it was oops. He did it with Chelsea, Bayern, now Manchester City.
You mean PSG?
I mean PSG. Sorry, but Chelsea no, with Bayern. No, that was Villarreal. I was thinking about Villarreal. Yeah, you're right. Chelsea and PSG. So third time, three times they did it.
Why does this keep happening to Pep Guardiola's Manchester City? Why do they keep blowing it in the Champions League? Why does this keep happening?
And we said it's the history. But
it's not just against Real Madrid, though. I mean, they've lost to Lyon in the Champions League. Lost to, Chelsea were finished fourth in the Premier League last season and beat them in the final.
Sometimes when you don't,
Monaco beat Manchester City.
So sometimes when you don't get what you wanna do, you become more nervous and then you become more insecure about yourself.
Okay, I think you might be onto something here, Debbie. We talked last week about, look at his opposite coach in this match, Carlo Ancelotti, Mr. Cool, Mr. Calm. You know, whatever is going on, his team's not going to panic. Carlo's not going to panic. Guardiola, I mean, his game plans are so meticulous, so detailed. I just wonder if something goes off script for this Manchester City team. Are they wound too tight that they just can't cope with it? Do you think that there's something to that Pep gets these teams just a little too on edge, just maybe a little too stressed out?
It is hard to explain and hard to say something like
that. Or is
it
just simply bad luck? Just bad luck?
I'm just saying.
Or is there anything to this?
Yeah, it's just like looking at what happened in this particular game, it's just history too again. Like you have the factor of being somewhere weird with magic or something, because how do you explain that you're being dominated again and you're still able to come back? Rodrigo, like you don't even know. Nobody knew Rodrigo's name before. Like very few people know who Rodrigo was.
I knew his name.
Well, but come on,
I do host a soccer show.
But come on, he scored those goals. This tiny guy do the header, and then he scored the other one. And I was like, are you serious? And then, okay, but it's still 2-0. Right? And
they seemed to give up though. They were so flat in that extra time period. So flat. It was like they had already given up. Whereas, Real Madrid needed 2 goals in the 90th minute, and they hadn't given up. They went and got then the 2 goals.
And then the Benzema goal that sealed it all. I mean,
no Panenka this time, but still a nice penalty.
But perfect, on the side. I mean, there's 3 perfect. Each side, Panenka, and on the other side, but you always have to be in the next in the net, in the side net. That's it. Side net or Panenka. He does everything. So. Kudos to Benzema that he's one of the best nines in the world.
Just incredible. He's in a run of form that I don't really ever recall seeing from a striker.
And all the young kids that they have in Real Madrid too, like
Camavinga, incredible. Really, he's done this multiple times in the Champions League. Come on, as a sub,
with no cross, no Modric, no Luka Modric. And
no Casemiro.
The
3
did
that
you notice? Did you notice that they went there?
I did. I actually had a question exactly referencing that, David. You're reading my mind.
Tell me about it.
I mean, that's incredible, though, right? Like, they complete the comeback without you think about this run of Champions League success, this recent run of Champions League success for Real Madrid. It's those 3. Those are 3 players that come to mind.
Right.
And to complete this comeback without any of the 3 on the pitch, does that show you that the next generation? The future is bright at Real Madrid. Is that what that shows?
Well, it shows that Ancelotti is, man, it's going to be
a maestro, isn't it?
He's a happy man when he retires. No matter what happened in the fight, no matter what happened in the Champions.
I mean, to win La Liga, reach the Champions League final, to knock off PSG, Chelsea, Manchester City, the 3 big new money clubs that I know Florentino Perez can't stand, to beat those 3. Yeah, I mean,
and you'd say it earlier, the coolness, the way he did it, because if that would happen to me, I would be freaking out, man. How is that happening to me? No, and he was every time that happened.
Unflappable.
Every time that happened.
Carlo is just one of my favorite people in all of football. I want to ask one more question about Guardiola, though. I think, for the most part, I think his game plan worked in this match. I mean, it essentially worked for 90 minutes, and then it all fell apart. But there was one change that I wanted to bring up. In the 85th minute, Fernandinho comes on for Riyad Mahrez, and City kind of go from the 4-3-3 that they were playing to more of a 4-2-3-1. So you had that double pivot there. It's a more defensive-minded formation, I think, to just try and see the match out. Was that a mistake? Because to me, I kind of think defending without the ball, that just isn't in this team's DNA. And I almost think it was a mistake to go to that double pivot and take off an attacker, the guy that scored the opening goal of the match, Riyad Mahrez, to take him off for a defensive-minded player. Was that a mistake in your eyes, David?
Yeah. That remind me of Wolf did, with the substitution that he did yesterday. So pretty much similar situation. I understand what he got. I mean, he probably want to get a header.
I think most coaches in the world would do that. Would put on an extra defender when you got a 2-goal lead, just 5 minutes to go in regular time, just to see the match out. But for some reason, with the City team,
Bielsa would never do it.
Bielsa's he was in one European final, I guess, with Bilbao. He took them to a Europa League final. But yeah, I mean, I think other than Bielsa and Pep Guardiola, most coaches are probably putting on a defender or two to try and close the match out.
And the thing is, with Man City, everybody can score with City too, so you have to think that way. And yeah, but the other thing is like there's something in relationship between Mahrez and Guardiola. It seems like there's. And he was very mad at him during the game, and he said everybody saw it, and I was like, "Don't be."
He's been kind of an on and off relationship with Mahrez at City. Was out of favor, now he's in favor. He's kind of gone in and out with Pep at City.
He was screaming at him, and that was kind of weird. That was like, really? I mean, do you need to do that? No, I think that was the problem with him. But other than that, I think, he needed to. I want to finish a game, keeping attacking the team. And Richard Alvarez, he had everything. He can play midfield. He can hold the ball. You need somebody to hold the ball and be dangerous. Yeah, definitely. You don't take him. Don't take him out.
I think the game plan worked all the way up until that point, and I think it's mistaken for most teams in the world. I wouldn't say that's a mistake, but in this team in particular, Pep City is not in their DNA to try and defend.
I mean, little details like can make big difference in a game like that, and. We can say that was one. You can play with guesses, but other than that, it's just he didn't beat history. He did say before the game against Real Madrid that they needed to be history, but because the situation, they know what happened, and it happened to them again. So it was nothing like unexpected for City. It was not unexpected, and I don't know. I think they crumble, and. They panic.
I want to ask you a question, David. Okay. My tongue is kind of in my cheek as I ask this question. It's a little facetious, but Manchester City, they are very likely to win another Premier League title this season. I don't know how excited anyone is going to be for them to win yet another Premier League title. Pep Guardiola, since winning the Champions League in 2011 with Barcelona, has really struggled in this competition. He's had strong teams, inherited a Bayern Munich team that had won everything the season before, and he can't get them past the semifinal round in the 3 seasons that he's there. He's only made it to one final with Manchester City. I think City covet the Champions League more than anything at this point. They could win another 10 Premier Leagues in a row, and I don't think anyone cares. And you have a coach that really specializes in winning the league, but does seem to struggle in the one competition that you really value. I ask you, David, facetiously, but maybe a little seriously, should City consider a coaching change?
Well, of course. No, they should have. I mean,
Zinedine Zidane, perhaps?
It comes to mind.
One bald manager for another, the one that's good at winning the Champions League?
The only reason why they got rid of Pellegrini was
all goes
the
back
Champions
to Pellegrini.
Remember, it was Pellegrini. They wanted to bring.
Pellegrini won the league. He won the Premier League.
He's an expert at this level. He has much more of a resume at the Champions League level than Guardiola does, except for Barcelona, Messi, except for the Messi Barcelona, right? But he's taking small teams to this level, right?
Yeah, Malaga.
Malaga,
Villarreal.
And maybe Betis. Who knows? If they win the Europa, I don't know. But he's taking those. He won the La Copa del Rey. So what I'm saying is like it was a punishment back, to Man City to do that because he was doing pretty good he won the league. He was doing pretty good. He qualified him to the champions again. There was no reason to get rid of Pellegrini except bringing Guardiola, right? The best coach of the world.
To be fair, City, they spent a ton of money. I think they would have had success no matter who their coach is, but I don't think they would be as dominant in the Premier League as they've been without Guardiola.
No.
So a ton of credit to Guardiola. I mean, the
He's
one
the
trophy that you really, really want to win, and you have a coach that seems to really struggle in this particular competition. It's a weird situation.
But he does need to win.
But now you're going to have Erling Haaland. Very likely going to have Erling Haaland. And so to me, next season, no excuses.
Well,
no excuses.
I mean, do you think Haaland will pass the medical? Because it's the only thing he needs to pass, and then he's going to be a City player.
I'm pretty sure he's going to pass the medical. I don't
know
his medical history, HIPAA laws and all that. I don't know his medical history, but I assume he's going to pass the medical.
City will be fine, and I think Guardiola is going to have another year to play with the Champions League and with the Premier. He's going to win it. So
okay, but let's go ahead and talk Premier League as far as this season is concerned, because there were some significant results this weekend. Saturday was the big result at Anfield, Liverpool drawing 1-1 with Tottenham. Manchester City followed up their midweek Champions League disappointment with a 5-0 thrashing of Newcastle. It's now a 3-point gap atop the Premier League table. City also have a +4 advantage on goal differential. 3 matches to go. Is it title race over, David?
Yes, it is over. I mean,
so just
I don't want to be a chicken because, I'm going to be a chicken. No, it's not over yet because there's 3 more games.
Let me read you the matches. Okay,
Please.
So Liverpool have to play away to Aston Villa, away to Southampton, and then at home to Wolves. City are at Wolves, at West Ham, and then at home to Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa to close the season out. You see any potential slip-ups there?
I mean, definitely there is a problem there with Aston Villa. I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah, they play both teams.
Both teams, both teams. So Aston Villa definitely would
Steven Gerrard with a say in this title race. Very big say.
Yeah, especially since he said this Liverpool is the best Liverpool he ever seen in his life.
Probably better than his Liverpool team. I think it's fair to say.
So that's gonna be tight. That's gonna be tight. But Southampton, I think, is one of the other ones, right?
Yeah, Liverpool are away to Southampton after they play away to Villa.
And Southampton, it could always be hard. I mean, they gave him problem last time, I believe.
Yeah, they can be a tough opponent. The way they
last
press
year,
can
right,
cause teams trouble.
So it's going to be harder for Liverpool. But the way, City is, after losing the Champions League, I think they're going to put it all. I mean, there's nothing to lose.
I thought perhaps disappointment after going out to Real that they may slip up against Newcastle. Didn't happen. They just steamrolled them completely. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about this Liverpool-Spurs match, though, because after the match, Jurgen Klopp had some very interesting comments.
What did he say?
This was on just how he felt Spurs approached this match. He was asked after the match if he was impressed with the way Tottenham defended. And this is what he had to say. He said, "I'm sorry. I'm the wrong person for that. I don't like this kind of football. But that's my personal problem. I think they're world class, and I think they should do more for the game." Especially that last part. I think they should do more for the game.
And before, what did he say right before that?
So he said it's his personal problem. I think they're world class. So he concedes that this is a world class team, but he thinks they should be doing more for the game. So if you look at it, Liverpool had 64% possession, Spurs 36% possession, Liverpool 22 shots to Spurs' 9. So I think he was critical of Spurs parking the bus, if you will. A bit of old school catenaccio from Antonio Conte. What do you think about those comments? Are those fair? Is that fair criticism from Jurgen Klopp, or do you think it's just, sour grapes, sore loser?
He didn't lose.
Sore drawer.
Sour drawer because it wasn't like a loss because
the big points drop
in the title race. That was a draw, and it could have gone the other way too. It could have gone the way Tottenham too. So you can say whatever you want to say, and he's a little bit sour. Of course, there is rivalry between.
Do you think he's right though? Do you think that there is a good way of playing football and a bad way of playing football from just like an aesthetic point of view?
Yeah, there is aesthetic point of view. Yeah, when I play beautiful football.
Do you have a problem with how Spurs approached this match?
No problem. I mean, they play what they have to do. I mean, when you play against a machine, it would be Liverpool or would be Manchester.
Liverpool have the better players,
Manchester
right?
City.
If Spurs had come out and tried to play like Liverpool, they would have gotten beat, 4 or 5 goals.
You're not going to play like that against. You got to give them the ball. You got to give possession to the other team, and you just hold on. That's no other way.
And here's
Put
the thing,
pressure, like LA did against Austin FC.
See, it's interesting. Okay, so LA, I actually thought were a bit more negative and a bit more embracing of the dark arts than Spurs were.
Yeah,
Spurs were actually really good. I thought they defended excellently. When they did win the ball, they progressed it beautifully. I mean, they played through the line so well.
And the chances miss.
Yeah, Son had a great goal, and then there were a couple others. Towards the end, Spurs looked more likely to score a winner than Liverpool.
That's right. And but Son missed one, so he hit it with the wrong leg. He had one that was like, could not believe he did that. He knew that at this level you can make those errors, but yeah. I think the goalie got a piece of it too.
And if you look at just like the expected goals numbers from it, Liverpool 1.2, Spurs 1.1, so basically dead even. So really, Spurs created basically the same number of.
I think Klopp is just talking BS. Okay, he is. He definitely, because he looks beautiful. I mean, to see Son play, Mistos play, Son. I mean, those guys are so precise. It's always nice to see.
I love watching any Antonio Conte team play, and this Spurs team is fun. Kane and Son on the counter.
It's just showed
it's fantastic.
He didn't have anything to say, Klopp, probably, and maybe he doesn't like Conte. That might be more a personal thing between Italian and a German. Germany against Italy playing the World Cup.
That's old school rivalry. Old school rivalry.
Nationalism here, Italian way. German way. No, Mom. I know that's.
That's why I thought it was such a great match. When he said they should do more for the game, I thought it was a fantastic match because it was old school German, old school Italian, or maybe not necessarily old school German, but just like stereotypical modern German versus stereotypical old school Italian, and it was a ton of fun. It was a really entertaining match. But Jurgen Klopp, not the only manager in the Premier League with something to say this weekend. Pep Guardiola, after the win over Newcastle, he had this to say. I thought this was really interesting. He said, I don't even know what prompted this. I think he just said this completely unprompted. He said, everybody in this country, the media and everyone, supports Liverpool. He said Liverpool has an incredible history behind them in European competition, not in the Premier League, because they have won 1 in 30 years. I mean, that's pretty bold. Pretty bold of Pep there.
I mean, it seems like you have to be honest. I mean, people love Liverpool.
Do you think he's right though that the media in England loves Liverpool?
Yes, I think he was right.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think they would rather see Liverpool win than Manchester City?
Yeah, it's like the Beatles, man. It's just like the Beatles. They love the Beatles. They love Liverpool.
So you think there's a Liverpool thing? They just love the city of Liverpool.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but
they
love it more than Everton. That's for sure.
I actually think Pep is onto something with this right here. I want to show you something. So I saw this on Twitter. I'm going to read this out.
Go for it.
I'm going to read this out to you. This is from Luke Edwards. I believe this is The Guardian. I guess he's a columnist in The Guardian. Mm-hmm. Last season, it looked like Manchester City were on the way to winning a quadruple. And this was what Luke Edwards wrote. The headline was, Manchester City might win the quadruple, and this is not good for English football. Subheadline, Pep Guardiola's side are in danger of obliterating the competitive nature of the Premier League. That's what he said 1 year ago. This is what he said recently, as Liverpool pursue a quadruple of their own. Headline, neutrals should be cheering on Liverpool's quadruple hunt. They're one of the greatest teams ever. No matter your allegiance, football fans should be savoring what Jurgen Klopp is doing and cheer Liverpool on towards the quadruple. Do you notice anything different in the tone of these two headlines?
I noticed quadruple.
City winning it is going to obliterate the competitive balance of English football. Liverpool winning it is something all neutrals, all of us should be celebrating.
Yeah.
So I think Pep has a point, is what I'm trying to say.
No, yeah. Pep has a point, but also I remember that because Pep should have known about it, because I remember all the fuss that happened in Man City when Bravo was not playing that good, and Bravo took over Hart he put Hart on the bench, and Hart was moved out of Man City. He created it was a national pride. Oh my God!
It was quite disturbed. I remember it. Yeah, I remember.
They were so strong that they got rid of Bravo. They were
Bravo wasn't particularly good at City.
It wasn't that bad. But it was not that bad. It was more of the pressure.
He fit the team more than Hart did, but he was not.
Yeah,
good.
It was fit, and he had a couple of bad games. But the main thing is they hate the media. Like this time, most of the media hated the fact that they messed with one of their heroes, right?
And so Liverpool, because of the history, because of all the European clubs, they don't like to see.
They don't want
a cultural institution.
They don't want a Catalan guy. They prefer a German to win it. Not the Catalan did.
Interesting, because England and Germany, they have a bit of history there.
Yeah,
World War II, there's a bit of history there. So.
Interesting history, but they love Klopp over there.
They do. They do seem to love Klopp. Okay, so we're just about out of time here, David. Before we go, we got to talk about it. The CONCACAF Champions League. Miguelito, he ran away. You don't want to talk about it because the Seattle Sounders defeated his Pumas 3-0 in the second leg. Seattle Sounders becoming the first ever MLS team to win the CONCACAF Champions League. Just how impressive of a feat is this from Seattle? And not just the win, but just the fact that they were, I think, the dominant team throughout that second leg. So just how impressive was this from Seattle?
It's very impressive, and I think expected. Miguelito kind of predicted it, not on camera. He predicted
off
camera. He predicted that
a bit more realistic, shall we say?
Puma would lose the game because of what he saw in the field in that game in Mexico City in El Estadio Olímpico, Olympic Stadium, and it didn't disappoint. Like a record crowd of 67,000 people watched the CONCACAF champions.
Incredible.
In
Seattle. I loved Rui Diaz scoring that goal and just kind of being moved to tears by the reaction and just like the moment, the occasion of it all.
And for him, it was the most important goal of his life. I mean, he already was mentioning that it was just such an important thing. And it's very important for the MLS because the MLS, for the first time, they have two other tournaments. You can say LA Galaxy and DC, Washington won, but now in this format, they did not win with this format. So
this is the first time
with this format that
Champions League
format they won. So and they deserve to win, and the field they show those players. Obviously, they have been saving some effort for this cup because obviously, they're not in the MLS tournament. They're not doing so good, but in here they won everything. And some of the players, I mean, I gotta say, the Uruguayan captain is just. It was a big duel you saw during this game against Pumas. So you have Talavera, the goalie, and it's Torreira. With Torreira was the biggest enemy, right? It was 3-0. There was more possession for Pumas, though.
Pumas,
54 possession over 46, and
Seattle scored early in the second half, and then kind of looked to defend and counter what Manchester City couldn't do against Real Madrid. Seattle were very successful against Pumas. But look at the shots, 13-5 in favor. And then you Seattle. I think that's very telling.
And the goal to celebrate, the last goal just was a celebration goal. It's just that's nice to end up.
Yeah, Lodero scoring at the end, that was absolutely wonderful. Here's the question I have for you, though, David, before we go. Do you think this result is a sign that MLS is closing the gap with Liga MX? Or do you feel as though this is just a one-off result for the Sounders in MLS?
I think, I don't know, but I think I have the hearing aid here, but I think that's what I said, right? There's MLS.
This is, so you believe this is for real?
That's for real. It's for real. The MLS for real. And even the Mexican fans are saying it. They say, hey, I'm not watching more MLS. I'm not watching more Liga MX. I heard many Mexican friends, they're not watching Liga MX anymore. They're watching MLS.
Because Leon's not in the playoffs. So that's why they're not.
Something like a Monterrey. I mean, but except like the northern teams, it's going to be harder because they're right here, right? It's not that far. But teams that are more from central Mexico, they're going to probably suffer a little bit more. But yeah, no, it shows that the Liga, the MLS is just.
Here's the other thing.
Time. The gap is closing.
Here, I agree that it is closing. If you want to slam that gap shut, though, you have to loosen the spending restrictions in MLS. You have to allow the owners that want to spend to go ahead and spend money. Otherwise, I think you'll see this every now and then from MLS. I don't think it'll be just a one-off, but I don't think it'll be as frequently as fans of MLS like us would hope. I think Liga MX is still probably the better of these two leagues. Definitely the better of these two leagues. Do you agree with that, David?
Yeah, with that thing what it happened once the MLS, doesn't have the stigma of being a cemetery for elephants.
About like for Steven Gerrard and Andrea Pirlo and those guys coming over.
Chicharito or Douglas Costa.
Scored, I think 5 goals this season.
So Douglas Costa, I'm talking about that. And when that doesn't happen again and people don't see it like that, I think and the MLS, will close the gap. But it's getting there.
It's getting there. It is getting there. I think we are out of time here, David. Excellent show. Glad you could join us. Glad you were on time this week. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
It's nice to be back.
Glad to have you back. Big shout out to Jerry Lopez working the boards for us as always. And visit clubdeportes.com. Best website on the internet. We are Futbol and Vivo. We will do this again next week. Thanks, everyone.
Adios.